Thank you so much for doing this today. And I want to thank all of our panelists and everybody who's at our backs expressing the anger, as I do today, about Donald Trump and Elon Musk tossing life-saving research into the shredder. This is outrageous. It is outrageous how they are treating our researchers, the research they're doing, and the tremendous benefits that are going to be lost because we've got two billionaires who aren't thinking about what they're doing. They're looking at a word on a piece of paper called DEI and deciding, oh, that must be it, without even knowing what they're doing. This is outrageous. We have DOJ freezing research grants mid-study. There is mass firing of researchers who are on the cutting edge of discovery. They're slashing funds for our world-class institutions. And they're setting back work on childhood cancers, on Alzheimer's disease, on improving women's health. There are patients today in clinical trials that are praying for a breakthrough, just like your son is. And they're seeing the best hope for a cure cut off by the richest two people in the world. This is just crazy. I have 4 NIH grants in my home state of Washington that have been canceled so far, including one that was focused on improving vaccine delivery for hospitalized children. There's countless other rewards that are being held up. They're threatening the life-saving research work that every single one of us either depend on today or may depend on or know somebody who depends on. I just can't express how outrageous this is. We know that in the first 4 weeks of this administration, NIH funding to research institutions was an astonishing $1 billion, that is a B, less than the same period last year. That is outrageous. Dr. Burton, great to see you again, and we so miss you there. Just tell us, from your time as NIH director, is it normal at this point in this year, we're almost the end of March, for so little grant funding to have gone out the door at NIH? And what is the impact on researchers and universities and people?
So thank you, Senator Murray. It's not at all normal. I want to say one thing, first of all, in defense of the wonderful people at NIH. There was not a day that when I served there that the conversation wasn't about how can we do more for people? What is the best way to make sure that we're doing the most important cutting edge thing? I also want to, and that was the first ideas in their brain anytime they walked in the door. The second was, how do we support the next generation to make sure that the people we need are here for us? You know, the other thing I want to emphasize is that the fundamental research that we all need, the understanding the biology that our drug companies need to make drugs, or that our device makers need to be able to make better diagnoses, that's funded by the NIH, overwhelmingly. That's not funded by any other sector. So without NIH, we don't have any of these kinds of progress. That's what's not getting out the door. So 2 things to answer your question directly. First of all, the confusion is rampant. There is and at this time, we would have had fully 1/3 of the total budget out the door already, funding very high-level research. It's an unbelievable brass ring to be an NIH-funded researcher. By the way, these are the best of the best of the best. And why am I saying only 1/3? Because we're a little more through the 1/3 of the year. It's because we're under a continuing resolution, and believe it or not, we always kind of start slow in a year like that because we want to make sure we're not going to, break the budget. But if it were not for that, we would be nearing the 50% point in getting all that money out the door, and I believe we are so far behind that right now.
We are far behind, and my understanding is 14 NIH grants focused on cancer have been terminated so far this year, and at least 6 of those focused on cancers impacting women. Dr. Burton Nogley, you're a surgical oncologist.
Yep.
How is this going to impact women?
Oh, it's, the whole, we identified that women's health was a high priority area for us at NIH over the last year, and so launched many new programs to really begin to address the deficiencies that we've had in women's health.
So what's the deal? Women are part of whatever this DEI is thing, so now we're not, the direction from the Trump administration is we don't take care of women?
Well, nothing new is going forward that I can see. Nothing new. And the other issue, so women, big one, nothing new, meaning we identified this is an urgent need. Now we want to move forward, with a robust response and confidence, and that is stalled. Another one I'll give you very quickly, because this one is our underserved communities, underserved rural communities, like where I grew up. University of Utah, my alma mater, just had a clinical translational research award canceled in its second of 7 years, just terminated, CTSA award. This award, the aims are genetic testing to improve treatment and diagnosis of critically ill newborns, skin cancer reduction programs throughout rural communities, support young adults with heart disease to be able to live lives and be better connected to their doctors if they live in rural locations, and to identify genetic causes of bipolar disorder, canceled in its second year. So that's what we're seeing.
I mean, this is outrageous, and I would just have a word for Elon Musk and President Trump. Women are a part of your life too, and without them, you won't be where you are. So you better focus on their health and get these fundings, this research funding back in place. Thank you.